Hi. Um, could I have the first slide, please? About a month ago, we had groundbreaking about 5 or 6 blocks from here on a street called Tony Lee Street for the 17th Habitat for Humanity house in Seguin. We're building one a year. And this one is sponsored by Texas Lutheran University, and it's the financing of it comes partly from contributions from faculty and staff members, and especially from alums who have helped and who actually next Saturday, Scholarship Day, I think, will also be working on the house a little bit in the morning before the noon meal. So this is a special occasion for us, but we've been doing this for a long time, and you and your predecessors have been doing this for a long time. In fact, just shortly after Jackson Auditorium was built, Millard Fuller, not Millard Fillmore, but Millard Fuller, the founder of Habitat, spoke here to an energetic audience of students who were working on some of the earlier houses. Here you have the family and an in-law, but the family that will occupy this house and who will contribute what's called sweat equity as well. They'll work many hours. The mom in the middle, back please, just one more. The mom in the middle works at HEB, and some of her friends at HEB are also contributing sweat equity. Her name is Letty Valadez, and her name tag at HEB is Letty, and if you bump into her, say hi. And her son and 2 of her daughters, and this is the daughter's husband, will also be joining us. You notice that her son is in a wheelchair, and so we're building a house that is special for the physically disadvantaged as well, including a roll-in shower in particular. And most of all, the house is our first attempt to do a greenhouse, which is why Pastor Greg is wearing the green shirt. But he hasn't turned his back on you, and he should. It says sponsored by Texas Lutheran University, and the Habitat for Humanity campus chapter would make you a deal for a shirt for some labor. So see the president, Allie Kopik, if you or her sidekick, Brandy Wells, or Ian Anderson. Any one of these could get you pointed in the right direction. Next, this is the mayor speaking. This is Michelle Dorsey. She's speaking to the youngest child of the family, but that's 4 children then, a mother and 4 children. Next slide. Recognize any of these people? I hope you do. The person on the right is Pastor Ron Johnson of First United Methodist Church. And they're cutting some 2x4s for the framing that's going on in the background. But I want to emphasize that churches have been the principal sponsors of Habitat for Humanity. It's a Christian endeavor. It's a privately funded endeavor. Millard Fuller was Baptist, Southern Baptist, and it began in Georgia and it spread around the world. I, in fact, helped on a habitat project a few years ago in southern Poland, and another one on an Indian reservation in the Dakotas. Habitat for Humanity is now the 9th largest home builder in the United States, and it's spread everywhere. I have next slide. Here's our last year's family. Valerie and her 4 sons. The smallest one's being held by her father. That's her mother behind there. She, like so many others, is young, but she has just finished 8 years in the United States Navy, and she was always punctual. And if she sent me an email that she was going to do something, she was there. She's now studying with her veterans benefits to become a nurse, and she's going to take care of those children. Next slide. Well, there's some people from 2 houses back. There's Allie again in the pink shirt. Maybe you recognize some others. This is a homeowner here, the 3rd single parent family you've seen, and these are her 5 children, 5, and and she's 29. So you can see something about how Habitat has a particular mission in areas like this, but elsewhere too, where about 3/4 of the houses that we build in the United States are addressed to needs of people who are struggling. You can guess as a pretty young woman how she might have ended up with a lot of children. I can tell you that she never stops having suitors, but she throws them out. I mean, the last one, she got a police restraining order to keep them away because she's determined to take care of her children and to improve her condition. She works 6 days a week, and she doesn't have any time for foolishness. Every time I go into her house to look at an air conditioning problem or issue or something, it's as neat as a pin. How does she afford it? We do not build houses and give them away, but we do sell them at interest, no interest. Her house cost $69,000. A house on the market like that would be about $95,000. It would be about 5% interest, and that doubles the cost. So every month she has a mortgage payment of, counting taxes, of about $450. It's half of what it would be otherwise, and she couldn't rent anything like that for less than $1,100 or so on the open market. Next slide. Here, I went through some of my slides. This is as far back as I can go. Some of you may recognize Brennan, one of our past presidents. Next slide. Here's a spring break group of TOU students from a few years ago. The homeowner is joining in. You can see her nail bag, and probably no one on there is somebody you would recognize. I'm standing in the back. Next slide. I always ask myself on the way there, how come are we going so far? We were going to Florida at the time. And I guess this is the answer, because this is Daytona Beach. And on the day off, they were burying each other in the sand. In fact, every time we've gone on spring break, we've gone somewhere near a beach. There must be a pattern. Next slide. One of your students, let's see, this was last year, caulking, more caulking, roll after roll. Next slide. This is our iconic shot from last year. I say iconic because I thought to myself, somehow I've got to work in iconic. Everybody uses that expression. We're going to be decking the roof shortly, this one, and you're welcome to join in. You got to check with Allie or Brandy or somebody about what the schedule looks like, and the schedule changes a lot. But that's what we do. If you see, by the way, what this young woman has in her hand, it's not a hammer. We sing about having a hammer. We really use nailers now, and that's part of the fun of it, right? Gang, right, Allie? Yes. Next slide. Pastor Greg says I have 1 minute. I guess, let me just say one more thing. In that last minute, Tony Lee, 940 Tony Lee, Saturday mornings is the volunteer work day, 7:30 to 11:30. We want to try to finish this by the end of the semester. It'll be a miracle, but we'll try. Thank you.